Welcome to Hard Talk. I'm Stephen Sacker. The human preoccupation with sex is nothing new, but the internet has made it so much easier to explore and exploit every shade of desire. The online porn industry makes billions of dollars in profit every year, but the big winners are corporate players, not the women and men performing the sex acts. Well, my guest today, Khalife, was briefly a porn actress. She garnered worldwide notoriety when she appeared in a sex video wearing Islamic hijab. After years of threats and insecurity, she's now speaking out. What does her story tell us about the porn industry and 21st century culture? Khalife, welcome to Hard Talk.
Thank you for having me.
By many measures, you are a very famous woman. For instance, you have, more than 16 million followers on Instagram. But the origins of your fame lie in your brief involvement in the porn industry. Is that hard for you to deal with?
Absolutely. After I left, I didn't delete my Instagram. It got hacked by ISIS sympathizers and propaganda was posted all over it. So Instagram took it down. And I didn't recreate one for another year until I decided to kind of accept my fate as the infamous former porn star and try and change the narrative. So I recreated an Instagram account and tried to, for lack of a better term, become an influencer.
Because if you put your name, as indeed I have done researching this, put your name into Google and...
On the work network?
Yeah, well, it was work. But the point is, you get these countless links to videos. The word porn star appears immediately. That is something that you will never, ever overcome, however much...
First of all, that's rude. I'm trying to.
Yes, I understand that. I don't mean to say you want it to be, but it's the way technology, the internet works.
Yeah. I'm not very Google friendly, and we're trying to change that. One of the first things that comes up is the site that I do not own or control, but where the homepage is written in first person, like I am the one running it. And on my Wikipedia, it's posted as my official website, and we've tried countless times to get it taken down, including taking legal action, but the company they won't hear anything, and we've made them countless offers.
Let's go through this step by step. How did a girl who was brought by her parents to the United States from Lebanon, your home country, schooled in the United States, clearly smart, went to university in Texas, read history, how did you get involved with the sex porn industry?
I don't think low self-esteem discriminates against anyone. It doesn't matter if you come from a great family or if you come from a not so great background. I struggled my entire childhood with weight, and I never felt attractive or worthy of male attention. And suddenly, my first year of college, I start losing all this weight from making small changes. And by the time I graduated, I was ready to make a bigger difference. I felt extremely self-conscious about my breasts because that was the first thing to go when I lost all the weight. I lost about 50 pounds. I don't know how many kilos that is, or stones.
Well, it's a considerable amount of weight.
Yeah.
It changed your body, it changed you physically.
Completely. So my biggest insecurity was my breasts. So I wanted to more or less go back to what they normally were. And once I did that, I started garnering all of this attention from men, and I was never used to it. And I felt like unless I held on to it and kind of did what was asked of me or what was expected of me, it would go away. And after feeling what it was like, that validation and, the compliments for the first time, I did not want that to go away.
You were spotted, I think, on a street. I mean, there you were a young graduate wanting to sort of find a job, and you were spotted on a street by a guy who said, I can work with you, and clearly he opened up and said it's the porn business. What was it in you that far from running away, was drawn into it?
It wasn't. That's not how it was. It wasn't just, hey, do you want to come do porn? It was more so, oh, you're beautiful. Like, would you like to do some modeling? Oh, you have a great body. Like, I think you'd be great in nude modeling. Things like that. And after I came and toured the studio, it was very respectable. It was a gorgeous location. It was in Miami, in Doral, Florida. It was clean. Everyone who worked there was nice. All of their cubicles were decorated with family photos. Like, it was nothing dodgy or that made me uncomfortable. And after the first time I went in wasn't the first time I filmed a porn movie. It was the second time. The first time was more so, do you want to do this? Like, sign the paperwork, et cetera, et cetera.
You have since talked about people who prey on callow young women. I'm just wondering, as we talk about it now, whether you feel a sense of victimhood, whether you look back at your younger self, because obviously now you're 26, but this is when you were 21. Do you look at that 21-year-old and feel that she was used, she was very much a victim?
I feel like she didn't have the tools to identify that she was being taken advantage of, and that what she was being told was lies. Maybe not so much lies, but trying to manipulate me to doing what they wanted me to do. I don't really see myself as a victim. I don't like that word. I did make my own decisions, even though they were terrible decisions. I think that something needs to change in the way women are approached, if even they are approached.
It is an industry, and it is a multi-billion-dollar industry, but at the heart of it are young people, and men and women, who are asked to and agree to perform sex acts in front of a camera. How much control, agency did you have in the process of making those videos, which we now know have been viewed hundreds of billions of times? None.
Very little. Other than kind of saying yes, no to one outfit or the other. Very little say on what was filmed, the theme of it, the content, where it's filmed. It's not really up to you.
But obviously consent would seem to me as an outsider to be a fundamentally important principle. If they asked you to perform a particular kind of sex act that you absolutely did not want to do...
No, they can't force you.
No.
No, absolutely not.
You've talked interestingly in the recent past about the mindset you had when you were performing in the sex videos. You said that you sort of blacked out, and that now you look back, you can't actually remember very clearly a lot of the things you did. Do you try and explain to me what was going on in your head as you got deeper into this industry?
I think that the word I couldn't quite grasp when I said that would be adrenaline. I think my adrenaline was so high because I knew what I was doing was beyond anything that I ever thought that I would do or anything that I could have imagined doing. So adrenaline was through the roof, makes it hard to look back and remember exactly what happened and the things that transpired.
Do you find it difficult talking about it now?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, no, I understand that. And obviously, I mean, do you think it made a difference? I'm genuinely just asking that you're of Arab heritage. Your parents were from Lebanon.
I'm from Lebanon. I was born and raised there.
Exactly. You're Arab, and Arab culture is deeply conservative on the whole. And do you think that was an extra layer that you had to peel away as you got involved in this business?
Probably. I think a part of it was also rebellion and wanting to do something so out of bounds and so out of character that I shocked even myself.
And I guess this is a very stupid question, but of course your family had no clue as to what you were doing.
No, and they disowned me when they found out.
Did they?
Yes.
That must have been terribly hard.
It was. I felt completely alienated by not just the world, but my family and the people around me. So it was, especially after I quit, when I was still alone, even though I left. And I mean, I just realized some mistakes aren't forgivable, but time heals all wounds and things are getting better now.
Things are changing.
Yes.
I want to ask you about the mechanics of the industry in one other way, and that is power, authority, money. First of all, we've talked, obviously men and women are performers in this business, but were there any women in positions of authority and control that you worked with?
Absolutely. One of the closest people that the talents work with was a female. She was very nice, respectful, professional. A lot of female employees in the back office, like VPs of sales and people on the tech side. So the offices are filled with women. And I asked her, I'm like, how did you find this job? Like, how do you apply for a job like this? The word of mouth through a friend.
The financial side of it is extraordinary too. After you made the video that I want to talk about in a moment, which involved you wearing the Islamic dress, the hijab, you, for a time, were the #1 most popular porn actress on Pornhub, which is this aggregator site for porn that is wildly popular throughout the world, it seems. And you were getting hundreds of millions of views. And yet, despite that, in the porn world stardom, you were paid a grand total for all the 12 sex videos you made. You were paid a grand total of $12,000 US. And yet you made millions and millions of dollars for both Bang Bros, the company that you worked with, and Pornhub, the aggregating site. How could that be?
That's just how it is. I'm not the only one who was singled out by this. It's not like I had a terrible contract or a terrible manager. Not that I didn't have a manager or an agent.
At all?
No.
No advisors, nothing at all?
No.
And you were 21, you were barely out of childhood, frankly.
Yeah. No. I mean, the human brain doesn't fully develop until the age of 25. So like my decision-making part of my brain still needed forming. There was no one to tell me what to do or to say this is wrong. This is important
about the nature of the porn business, because you make a video, it lives forever online, and the more popular it gets, the more hits it gets. And we're not just talking about the United States. Many of your videos were, it seems, very popular in the Middle East.
The most popular in the Middle East.
Which is interesting in itself.
Because they're the ones who are tweeting death threats at me.
Exactly. We'll get to that in just a moment. But the point of the finances is, however popular you became, the #1 star in this business, you had no residuals, no rights whatsoever to get any sort of recompense for your popularity.
None. None whatsoever.
And is that, to this very day, is that the way porn contracts work?
Absolutely, for everybody.
امید دارم که مجموعه برنامه‌هایی که پیش رو هست بتونه لحظات شیرین و پر نشاطی رو براتون فراهم بکنه. دوستتون دارم شدید، به مدت مدید. خداحافظ.